Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad you joined us. We got a pretty good crowd tonight, so I appreciate your participation. Welcome to Idea Week, the week of virtual public engagement for the Lexington County Grow With Us comprehensive planning process. I hope you share my enthusiasm today during our kickoff of public input. My name is Holland Leger. I'm the Director of Planning and GIS for Lexington County. This department is tasked with the preparation and implementation of the comprehensive plan, a policy document intended to guide the growth and development of this county for generations to come. In order to do so, we have contracted with the Clarion and Associates team, in my opinion, the best private planning firm in the country, skilled in the preparation of long-range plans. Representing the firm and here online with me today is project manager, Ms. Leanne King. Leanne is a well-respected land use planner and professional colleague of mine who I have worked with on any number of projects over the last 10 years. Leanne has with her a robust team of professional experts in the various disciplines of planning, including transportation, land use, finance, economics, housing, zoning, land use law, and other fields such as geographic information systems, marketing, and public engagement. These folks will assist us through this process. We have an hour-long program of engagement to be followed by some online exercises by you to be undertaken to help us plan for the growth of this county in the next 10 to 20 years. With that said, I will turn the floor over to Ms. Leanne, who will guide you through the process this afternoon. So welcome, Leanne, and the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Holland, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. As I mentioned earlier, this is the 6th of 7 meetings, so really happy that you could join us during Idea Week. You'll see several of the folks on the screen here today on the call tonight. These are my fellow teammates on the Grow With Us Lexington County Comprehensive Planning process. And you'll see we've got our Lake Murray background on here. So we will be kind of assisting you throughout this process, and we'll be doing some breakout room discussions in a little while, and we'll be visiting with you in there. So glad to have all our team members with us tonight. We've got several things that we're going to be accomplishing tonight. Here in just a moment, I'm going to give you a short presentation on providing an overview of the project and the comprehensive planning process, and also some quick facts and trends about Lexington County that are important to consider when thinking about the future of the county. And then we're going to break out into small group discussions. Our partner, Sarah Bongiorno with Planning Next, will give you a prompt question and some instructions for thinking about the vision for Lexington County in the future and allowing you all some time to talk about those ideas. Then we're going to come back together as a full group and have an online polling activity about critical issues and values in the community. So make sure and have your smartphone ready for that, because that'll be the best way, or other device, that'll be the best way for you to engage with that. And the most important thing, and you'll hear us emphasizing this throughout this meeting tonight, is that this is the first step to engage as part of this first round 1 of engagement. After tonight, we're going to ask you to go to the project website, and we'll give you that information, to complete an online questionnaire. It won't take you very long, and that is our main way we're actually capturing information from people. So we want to encourage you to go there and fill out that questionnaire, as well as encourage your friends, family, neighbors, and colleagues to do the same. All right, so let's look at what a comprehensive plan is. So the purpose of a comprehensive plan is fourfold. First, it serves as a blueprint for the county's future, that's laid out in the form of goals and action strategies within the plan. It also serves as a compass that guides decision-making of your local elected officials and advisory boards on a whole host of different issues. It's also a playbook for capital projects to be incorporating into future capital improvement planning processes. So if you think about any investments that the county makes, this comprehensive plan can be guidance on those future investments. It also serves as a marketing tool that articulates the community's vision and how the private sector can support that vision. More and more we see private businesses and residents that are looking to maybe relocate to the area, they'll pick up the comprehensive plan in a community and try to understand what the trajectory of that community is and if it's really kind of the right fit for them. Specific to Lexington County, we know we want to be accomplishing several things in this planning process. First, we want to identify the core community values as a foundation for the county's first modern comprehensive plan. And this Idea Week and some of the stakeholder meetings we've been holding are really critical ways for you all to provide feedback for the project team to set that core community value structure. We also want to plan for and respond to the pressure for growth that's felt across the county and has manifested in many different ways. And that's really one of the main reasons why this planning effort is underway is that growth pressure is expected to continue, and we want to manage that and plan for it accordingly. We also want to pursue an inclusive process that's mindful of the concerns of residents, county officials and staff and community partners. And lastly, we want to satisfy state requirements. The state of South Carolina actually requires that local governments adopt comprehensive plans, and so we'll be meeting those requirements with this effort. The Grow With Us project is a 16-month comprehensive planning process that kicked off in July of this year. As you can see there, we are now in round 1, which is part of phase 2. So we're really kicking this off with the community and this Idea Week and with the online questionnaire. And we'll be coming back out to you all in the summer of 2021, summer of next year. And at that point, we're going to be looking at various growth alternatives, different ways that the county might grow in the future. And we'll be evaluating that along a host of different issues and letting you all have share your reactions to those different alternatives and what is kind of the best fit for Lexington County. Then we'll be coming back to you the end of next year, December 2021, with our plan unveil. So we'll actually have a public review draft of the plan at that point before it goes on to the formal adoption process. We think about planning for a community similarly to with the way we think about planning for a business or an organization. It's really a cycle, and that's the wheel that you see here on the slide in front of us. And it really starts with setting overarching policy direction for a community. And that's really the goal and the mission of a comprehensive plan, is to set that policy direction at a high level for a whole host of different issues, including transportation, housing, land development, natural resources, public facilities, parks and recreation. That then sets the stage for work priorities that are included in departmental work plans, funding priorities through your county budget and capital improvement planning process. And then you implement those priorities through operational initiatives and capital projects. And then once you've done that implementation, you assess and measure progress and make sure you're actually meeting the goals that are set out in the plan. And probably 10 years from now or so, you'll be updating this plan. The county will have changed. There'll be new conditions and new challenges and opportunities. And so it'll be an opportunity to, again, kind of reset and look at what that overarching policy direction should look like. So again, we think about planning as a cycle. So it's never really ending. We're always making it kind of live and dynamic. When we look at Lexington County, the plan for Lexington County will look at the entirety of all of the land in the county, including the municipalities. That being said, this is a county plan, so the actual actions and strategies are going to be specific to the county's jurisdiction, which are the unincorporated portions of the county. And by that, we mean all of the non-municipal areas within the county. But we do want to be assessing and understanding what's happening in the municipalities, and they're definitely going to be partners in this effort. Years ago, the county was different sub-area planning boundaries were identified, 7 that you see on the map here, as a way to kind of help assess different parts of the county. We are focused on planning area 4, as you can see at the top, the Chapin planning area. It's fine if you want to talk about another planning area during tonight's call. You're not limited to talking about 4, but you will see an emphasis on that tonight. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a little bit of the key facts that we think are important to be sharing with you. No new news to you. Lexington County is one of the fastest growing counties in the state. It added nearly 80,000 new residents between 2000 and 2018. And the projections for growth show that it's going to continue to be a high growth community and add an additional 150,000 residents over the next 20 years. That's the big question that we're going to be grappling with in this process, is where those new residents go, what that new development looks like, how are we going to provide services to them, how's the infrastructure going to support that growth, etc. Lexington County is slightly more diverse, both racially and ethnically, than it was a decade ago, and it has a higher median income and educational attainment level than South Carolina overall. Its municipalities are growing. There's 3 times as much municipal land as there was in the initial municipal charters established long ago, but we know that that growth has not been the same for all municipalities, and we'll show you some information on that tonight. About 3/4 of land in the county is either occupied by rural uses or unimproved residential land. So what that tells us is there's a lot of the land that could potentially change over time and possibly become developed. And so we want to be looking closely at what's appropriate in terms of where we want to be directing growth to occur in the future. From an economic development standpoint, we know that healthcare is going to be a big industry in the Midlands and continue to be a big industry in the Midlands. And the growth, the 5 fastest growing careers are all in personal healthcare, and we expect that's likely going to play out in Lexington County as well. We know access to transportation is a major factor for employment. And if you look at the maps, and we'll have some maps that demonstrate this tonight, you'll see that most jobs are clustered within the municipalities near Congaree River, the airport, and along interstates and major roadways. We also learned through this process that half of county maintained roads are unpaved. They're primarily concentrated in southwestern and southeastern Lexington County, and about 220 miles have been petitioned for paving. And we know from looking at funding options that there's really not existing funding that's sufficient to meet that persistent demand. So that's another challenge we're going to be looking at in this process to see how best to address that. We know that there are more people commuting by car to their work each day, and they're spending a little bit more time in their car. Their travel time is extended between 2010 and 2018. We also know that the demand for walking, biking, and transit infrastructure is growing in the eastern part of Lexington County. Okay, so population trends. This chart here in front of us shows us population growth between 2000, 2010, and 2018. The blue shows us the municipal population. Orange is the population within the unincorporated portions of the county, and the gray is the county overall. And when we looked at this, what we learned and thought was interesting is that the majority of the population, about 74%, resides in unincorporated Lexington County, not actually within the municipalities. And you can see here the 6 fastest growing towns in the county, Chapin being at the top of that. So it grew significantly, a population of 628 in 2000, and it basically added about 1,000 residents over the next 18 years. But that growth has not been consistent for all communities. You can see there are actually some communities that have been depopulating over that time period. When we look at kind of historical population estimates and also the Central Midlands Council of Governments population projections, we see again that in the next 20 years, the county's projected to have nearly 470,000 residents living here. And we know that based on current growth patterns and land availability, that we can expect a large portion of that growth to happen within the unincorporated areas of Lexington County. This is a population density map. It shows people per acre, and probably not a surprise, you can see that the majority of folks are the denser portions of the county in terms of population are towards the eastern side of the county and the municipalities. As you move westward and move north and south, it's more dispersed pattern and not as high density in terms of population. When we look at the age of residents, we kind of characterize Lexington County as being of family age. So we see kind of a higher proportion when we compare Lexington County between 2010 and 2018 with South Carolina. We see that the county has a higher proportion of kind of middle-aged folks and also younger folks, and a lower proportion of folks in the 20 to 24 category and 65 to 84 category. Looking at where people are moving from that are relocating to Lexington County, we learned that nearly 2/3 of folks that are moving to Lexington County are actually from somewhere else in South Carolina, primarily Richland County and Kershaw County. And the next highest states where people move from are North Carolina, Georgia, New York, and Florida. Looking at job locations, I mentioned earlier about how jobs are located near transportation access, and you can see that here along the major roads. That these are job clusters, so where you see the kind of the darker purple, that's where there's a larger cluster of employment areas there, and obviously kind of more focused on the central and eastern portions of the county. Also important to understand is what we call commuting patterns. So worker inflow, those are workers that work in Lexington County but live somewhere else. Have about 73,000 of those folks that are traveling into the county each day to work. And worker outflow, those are workers living in Lexington County that are going outside of the county to work, and there's nearly 72,000 of those folks. And then we have about 54,000 that live and work in the county. So a lot of people moving around on an average day getting to and from work. And I'm sure you all have experienced some of that traffic at various times in your commutes around town. We are looking at existing land use as part of this process. So this is a map that depicts our understanding of existing land use based on the county's assessors data. And so what this tells us is that you can see here these kind of lighter green and yellow colors. That's the majority of land within the county, but we also see a lot of kind of industrial and commercial growth along the corridors. What we know is that, nearly a little more than 70% of land is in the rural use or unimproved residential land category. So again, there's a lot of opportunity for potential change in the future. And we want to be thinking about how we want to direct that growth, as well as look at where some of these other uses are most appropriate to be planning for in the future. And you can see here, this is a zoom in on planning area 4. Chapin, you can see those kind of single family residential, unimproved residential land and rural uses in this color. And then along the core, some of the main roadways, you see more commercial development and institutional development. And of course, Lake Murray here. When we look county-wide at housing stock, one thing that we found was that the county has a large proportion of single-family detached housing and mobile home units, more so than South Carolina overall. And one of the questions that we kind of think we might be asking during this process is there a need for other types of units in the county? We know that there are a lot of market preferences that are changing in terms of the types of homes that people desire, and so that's something to consider in this process. We mentioned earlier the municipal annexations and how the total incorporated land is 3 times what it was in the original charters. You can see here this chart shows what the acreage was for those original charters and how those acreages have changed over time, with kind of early 40s and 50s, and then the 2000s being some of the bigger time periods when annexations were occurring. This is a map of Chapin's annexation, so you can see a lot of kind of newer development happening within the 1990s and 2000s, and kind of extending the corporate limits for the town during those time periods. We're also looking at zoning and development regulations and what type of development can actually occur in different parts of the county. The Lexington County zoning ordinance applies zoning in 2 ways. It has zoning districts. It also has street classifications. So you can see on the map here, the kind of yellow areas that are predominant, those are the actual districts that apply to land. But then you see these colored lines here, and those depict different types of street classifications. And the road that sits in front of a property is also considered in terms of what types of uses and development regulations are applied to a specific property. And if you look at planning area 4 here, you can see the zoning that's applied within this planning area, and of course the town of Chapin here. The large proportion of this planning area is in the restrictive development category, but we also have some intensive development that you can see in this kind of orange area here. So again, that's something that we'll be looking at and thinking about what potential development could occur. in these locations. I also wanted to mention that we are going to be, as part of the growth alternatives, we're going to be looking at the plans of the municipalities to understand what's happening inside these corporate limits, what the plans are for their future growth, and understanding where growth potential exists for them and coordinating that in this effort. So that wraps up our presentation portion of the meeting, and I'm going to hand the baton over to Sarah Bongiorno with Planning Next. She's our partner who's going to lead us into our breakout room discussions.
Great. Thanks, Leanne. Good evening, everybody. So we're going to switch gears here in just a moment, and we are going to split up the group into 5 smaller discussion groups so that we can hear from you and give a chance to interact with your neighbors and share ideas. So in just a moment, we'll split into these groups, and we're going to give you a question prompt here in a second to kind of kick off the conversation. A few pieces of housekeeping before we move into the breakout sessions, just a few etiquette reminders. Different opinions are expected and they should be respected. The diversity of the county and of the folks, you know, on the meeting tonight should enrich the conversations and ideas. And it's okay to challenge ideas, but personal attacks are not acceptable. And, you know, please make sure you're listening to others in your group and help ensure that everyone has a chance to share their ideas. We have about 15 minutes in the breakout sessions, and then we will bring everyone back to the main meeting to continue. We'll have another exercise to get some more input from you all. So Leanne, if you could advance to the question. Perfect, thank you. So this is the question we'd love for you all to think about and then share your ideas with your small group. So imagine this planning area. So tonight we're in planning area 4 of Lexington County in 20 years. Picture the people, events, and places here. What do you hope for the future of this area? Or if you have ideas about the county as a whole, that's fine as well. So start thinking about that. And then when you get put into your small group, we will begin the conversation. So hang tight as we switch gears here and get you all put into your discussion groups. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hopefully you had great discussions in your groups. And just going to give a second here to make sure we're all back together. And we're going to switch gears and get ready for our next activity. As we're getting everyone back into the main meeting, if you have a smartphone or a device or even your laptop, you know, get ready because we are going to do some polling here. And you'll want to have your smartphone nearby if you have it, or iPad device. Okay, can everyone see the screen here now? So once you get your smartphone handy or your device, please open a web browser, however you get on the internet, and go to www.menti, that's spelled MENTI.com. And once you get there, they'll prompt you for a code. It's up here on the screen, 6828154. And let me know if you have any issues. Once you get in, it looks like some people have found it. That's great. The first question there, what is your favorite outdoor activity to do in Lexington County? So you can answer that. We're doing some warm-up questions here to get everyone kind of into the platform and used to how it works. And then we'll get into some more specific questions a little later on. So I'm going to let this, you can see.
Yeah, and if you pick
Yep.
one of the other categories, feel free to write what the other thing is in the chat so we can capture that.
All right. I'm going to give a few more minutes on this one so that we can got about 32 participants on the call. So I'm going to give a few more folks to see if more folks want to join in and find their way over before I move on.
Can you tell us the code again for those of us who are on the phone?
Yes, it's 6828154.
And if you can see this screen, it's at the very top up at the screen.
Right.
And you should be able to get on with your smartphone, iPad, or even on a laptop device if you go to the website. So any of the devices should allow you to plug in.
Okay, so it only lets you one choice.
This one is one choice. Yeah, I know it's hard. You might like a lot of things, but your top choice, most favorite. Looks like we got a lot of boaters out there tonight and some hikers. And yes, kayaking, canoeing. All right, so we got almost everyone looks like participating here. I'm gonna give it one more second and then we'll move on. Now, when I advance the slide, it will automatically advance your question to the next question. So I'm gonna move on here. So this next one is, were you born in Lexington County? So we know that maybe you crossed the border to the hospital, but was your family living in Lexington County when you were born? So we got a few folks here, born and raised, 5, 6. Give a couple more seconds here. Folks to find their way. All right, great. And I'm going to move on to the next question. How long have you lived in Lexington County? And if you don't live in the county, you're just joining in because you maybe work here or just care about the county, there's an option for that.
And so, Sarah, I just want to add, make sure you're participating in this, everyone. This is kind of the fun part.
We've got a lot of folks, a lot more variety in this group.
Look at that. We've got every this is the first meeting we've had all the age groups represented. So that's great.
Wow, look at that population pyramid.
Yeah.
I'd like to know who the other two that are 50 plus years.
Hey, I'd like to know the 0 to 4.
That would be me. I would be one.
Okay.
Oh, it's me, Leisha, 50 plus years.
Congratulations.
I'm with you.
Paul is the one who's 50 plus years, whoever asked that.
Great. Wish we had a prize, but we don't have a prize. You can feel good about that. Okay, we're going to move on to question 4. This is just trying to understand where folks are coming in from. So what zip code do you live in? You can type in the code right there, and it's going to create kind of a word cloud.
Who 3-6 looks like it has it.
Yeah. Very strong there. All right, one more second here. And we're gonna move on. Okay, and then what is your age?
We got some in the 25 to 34. That's great.
Yep. No, that's a good spread there. That's great representation. Okay, I'm gonna move on here. So this one's about, kind of your perspective or attitude as you're tuning into this meeting. So why are you tuning into this meeting tonight? And you can choose all that apply here. Got a lot of folks that want to be helpful and have ideas and are curious. That's great. And if you've got another reason, please type it in the chat. You can use that chat function to tell us what your other reason is. We got a few skeptics out there. That's fine. Healthy skepticism is never a bad thing. We hope we can bring you along in this process and answer your questions. Okay, so I'm putting this up as a reminder of the different planning areas, and we're up here talking about planning for this evening. So some of the next questions asked you to think about this planning area. So I just wanted to remind everybody where we were tonight in our meeting. So why do you care about this planning area? Choose all that apply. There's a lot of folks that are living in the area, their families here. Great, good. And then just trying to understand movements. Do you go to different parts of the county or planning areas on a daily or weekly basis? Think about this though, like kind of pre-COVID, because I know things might be a little different now and maybe you're working from home, but in a more typical scenario, how do you move about the county? A number of you are it's like moving about. All right. Great. And then how many miles do you travel to get to work? Again, think about a more typical, maybe a pre-COVID, a post-COVID, we'll eventually get there to get back to our normal sort of routines, but thinking about that normal routine, how many miles do you travel to get to work?
Remember that some of us live at the end of Amex Ferry and it takes us 8 miles just to get to Chapin.
Okay, great. So this is a fun one. What is your favorite place to take visitors to show off Lexington County? And you can write in here, but this is a word cloud. So try to keep your answer to 1 word or 2 word answer here, because it's going to create a word cloud based on how many folks are writing. And looks at the lake. Lake Murray is sort of the pulling out ahead, voting on the lake. Bear Creek Farms. State parks. Lakes and parks. Great. Taking advantage of your natural resources. That's great.
Yeah, lots of great places to visit in Lexington County.
Well, we've done this in the other areas, other meetings. The lake is usually up there, and some of the meetings, though, the rivers have pulled out ahead, but the lake's always really strong.
We also got some good food recommendations too.
some good restaurants. Yeah. All right. Move on here. Keep us moving. So, what are the most important aspects of Lexington County that keep you living here? And you can choose 2 on this. And I know this may be hard because there's a lot of things that are probably important to you, but we're really trying to get to priorities here. So you can think about the top 2 things. And if there's something not on this list, again, use the chat function and tell us what that is, and share that detail with us. More people is pulling ahead here. That's great. You see that? Good schools, recreation opportunities are up there. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to go on to our last question. When you think about the future, select the top 2 topics you think need to be addressed for this planning area. And again, we're asking you to choose 2. And there is an other category there, so please use the chat function to let us know if you've got other ideas.
And this is looking pretty consistent with what we've been seeing in other planning area discussions as well. A lot of interest in growth and infrastructure.
Yep. Great. So that was the end of our polling exercise. I hope you guys had fun. And we will be taking all this input and merging it into a database with information from the other meetings as well. So we're gonna give me a second here to switch gears. I'm gonna exit out of this and I'm going to go over to the project website. So we do have a project website, growwithusLexco.com. And once you get here, we want you to click on this button here, share your ideas. We have an online questionnaire that is live now and it'll be up for the next 2 weeks. And so we really appreciate everyone joining in tonight and being a part of this virtual meeting and participating in the breakout rooms and doing the polling. But we really need you to continue to participate and go to the website and continue to partake in the activities there. The activities on the website allow you to give us some more meatier or more deeper input, and they're allow you to talk about the county as a whole and specific locations. So I'm going to review this this little online questionnaire activity page with you so that you kind of understand the different components of it. There are 4 different pieces to it. The first one is focused on the county as a whole. And so there's 3 questions, one about things you value. There's some topics here, and then you can, of course, click the other and type in any other topics you may have. And then these are open-ended comment boxes for these 2 questions. So you can tell us what you wish the county would focus on for the next 5 or 10 years, and what do you think the biggest challenge is for this new plan for the county that this plan should address. And then after each section, here's part A, you can hit submit. So you can do any of the sections in any order. We'd love for you to participate in all 4, but if you just want to focus in on one, that's fine as well. Part B is about the 7 planning areas. So you can select a planning area, and then you can click these, read through these topics and click the ones that you think are most important. And then this is also another important open-ended comment box area. So if there's anything else on your mind about that planning area, something that you haven't been able to share up above in the topics, please feel free to use this open-ended box here. And then you can add as many planning areas as you want. Every time you click here, another planning area will drop down. So you can give us input on all 7 planning areas if you would like. And of course, there's a map here for reference if you want to understand what area. Make sure that what you want to say is in what specific planning area it's in. Then you hit the submit button for each section. And part C is a map-based exercise, and it allows you to give us really specific comments on certain areas. There's some instructions here that you can read when you go to participate in this. I'm going to click that off for now so I can show you. You can zoom in, and there we go. And you can go to a certain area, and you can drop a little marker there. You see the little gray marker, and then this box will come up and you can tell us about that area. You can say, you know, this area is an issue or an opportunity. You can give it a name, and then why. This is really important. Why did you mark this place? So what is it about that area? Is it a traffic issue? Is it you think there's an opportunity for more commercial? Is it you know, something with safety? So you can tell us why you marked that specific area, and it can hit submit this place. And then the form will reset, and you can give us as many, you can scroll around and drop as many pins as you want, and tell us about different specific areas within the county. And you can scroll around on this map. So, and as you zoom in, you'll see it gets more detailed. So it gets down to specific roads there. The last questionnaire is really for you to tell us about yourself a little bit. This is all anonymous, but we do ask some general demographic questions because it is important to us that participation we want to look at that how it compares to the overall Lexington County demographics to see how our participation compares. So we do want to get some basic questions here so that we can see how our participation lines up. And then of course, item 7 here, additional comments. So this is just a open-ended comment box. If you've got other ideas or other things on your mind that you couldn't really share in any other way or any other fashion, then this is a place for you to give us any additional comments. And then of course, then you hit your submit button on that one as well. So please, this is really important to, continuing the input here, to head over to this website. I encourage you, as soon as we drop off the call here, we're wrapping up here in a few minutes. If you've got time, I encourage you to head over to the website and just, work on it right now. But it will be up for 2 weeks, so you'll have plenty of time. Please share the link. This is open to everybody in the county. Anyone who cares about the county can go on the website and participate in these activities. And we really want good participation. So please share the link. I'm going to close out here and hand it over to Leanne. Yeah.
Sarah, I'm on the website now and I'm trying to do it and I can't find it.
Okay. If you go to the very top, there should be a share, share your input.
Share your
button.
ideas. Okay.
Yep. And then when you get there, it should walk you through the page.
Gotcha. Okay. So at the very top where it has, when my web browser has the 3 or 4 bars, when we click on that, then we click share your ideas. I just have to be able to post this online so other people can do it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Really quickly, and this is a good difference for those of you who are on mobile phones or on smaller browsers. It may not show up as words right away. It may be in that 3-line menu that you have to click.
Our favorite little hamburger menu, the little 3 lines. Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you all for coming and attending tonight. This wraps up the main portion of our meeting tonight. Couple of things, if you've got the chat open and or the screen up on your the URL up on your screen here has that website that goes to the questionnaire. So we're asking, if you don't do anything else this week, please go to growwithusLexco.com and complete that questionnaire. And we'd really also like to ask you to ask maybe 5 family, friend, neighbor, colleague, folks that you have that you care about, that you think also care about the future of Lexington County, and ask them to complete this questionnaire as well, because it's really important that we get as many folks sharing their insights and ideas in this process. So please, we encourage you to do that. A couple other things, if we're actually going to stay on the meeting here for about 15 minutes. We'll be signing off at 7:15. So if you want to go to the website and try the questionnaire, and if you have any issues, you can log back on over here and we're happy to help you troubleshoot those. There's also a some contact information on the website if you have any questions while you're on there, and maybe we've already exited out of this meeting. I also wanted to ask, in using the chat function, if you all wouldn't mind letting us know how you learned about this meeting tonight, what it was that kind of first made you aware of the Idea Week opportunity. We are always wanting to understand how people learn about the engagement opportunities, because we want to make sure and continue to do the ones that are working well and reaching folks. So that would be great if you wouldn't mind posting that in the chat so we can capture that. And then for the next 15 minutes, those that are still on the line, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to ask us any questions while we're here. Glad to help you. You're also welcome to share additional comments if you have some additional ideas about that question that you discussed in your small group earlier. So please feel free to use this time in whatever way best works for you. You're also welcome to leave the meeting if you need to head out to dinner or take care of your kid or something like that as well. So we're very happy that you joined us, and just let us know if we can answer any questions for you.